For my 50th birthday, my family kept dropping hints for weeks. Something big was coming, they said. My wife Patricia smiled mysteriously whenever I asked. My son Jordan winked knowingly. My daughter Amber giggled and changed the subject. I was genuinely excited as the day approached. After 30 years of marriage, I thought this milestone birthday might bring us closer again. When the actual day arrived, I hurried home early from work, a bottle of champagne in hand. I opened the door to darkness. No decorations, no cake, no family, just silence. Hours later, I saw it on Instagram. My wife, my kids, my in-laws, all at a luxury beach resort. My son wrote, "He will not even notice we are gone. LOL. Where are you watching from today?" Drop your location in the comments and hit that like and subscribe button if you have ever felt invisible to the people who should see you most. Stay with me as I share how this betrayal became the wake-up call that changed everything. I had been married to Patricia for 30 years. We met in college, fell madly in love, and built what I thought was a beautiful life together. Those early years were magical, two young people working together dreaming of our future. We had Jordan when we were both 28, and Amber came along 3 years later. For decades, I believed we were the perfect American family. But over the past 5 years, things had changed. As a software engineer for a major tech company, I worked 60-plus hour weeks to provide the lifestyle my family had grown accustomed to. I paid for our 4-bedroom house in a prestigious neighborhood. I funded Jordan and Amber through college, without student loans. I made sure Patricia could drive a new luxury SUV every 3 years. My family never wanted for anything material. The cost, of course, was time. I missed weekend trips because of project deadlines. I worked through some holidays to meet crucial milestones. I took calls during family dinners. I told myself it was worth it. Every sacrifice was for them to give them the security and comfort they deserved. I convinced myself they understood and appreciated my efforts. 6 months before my 50th birthday, I had a minor heart attack. Nothing severe, but enough to land me in the hospital overnight and scare me into reevaluating my priorities. The doctor warned me about stress, told me to spend more time with loved ones to find joy and balance. It was the wake-up call I needed. I started making changes. I spoke with my manager about reducing my hours. I began declining non-emergency weekend work. I initiated weekly family dinner nights and suggested weekend activities, hiking, movies, board games, anything to rebuild those connections I had neglected. Patricia responded with surprising coldness. When I suggested a weekend away, just the two of us, she claimed she had too many social commitments. When I tried to engage her in conversation about our relationship, she would check her phone or suddenly remember errands she needed to run. I noticed she had become increasingly dismissive of my attempts to reconnect. The kids were no better. Jordan, now 22, was wrapped up in his own social life and barely acknowledged my presence in the house. Amber, 19, spent most of her time with friends or locked in her room. When I tried to talk to them about college or their interests, I received one-word answers or annoyed sighs. Still, I persisted. I thought my 50th birthday might be the perfect opportunity for a fresh start. The weeks leading up to it gave me hope. The secretive whispers, the sudden silence when I entered rooms, the knowing smiles between Patricia and the kids, all pointed to something special being planned. I overheard Jordan on the phone saying, "This is going to be epic." Patricia kept telling me, "Just wait, something big is coming," with that mysterious smile that reminded me of our early years together. The morning of my birthday started wonderfully. Patricia kissed me and whispered, "Happy birthday, honey. Wait until you see what we have planned for tonight." At work, my colleagues surprised me with a small cake and card. Throughout the day, I received text messages from both kids and Patricia. Each one heightened my anticipation. "Can't wait to see your face tonight," Jordan texted. "This is going to be the best birthday ever. Dad came from Amber. Be home by 6 sharp." "The surprise won't wait," Patricia wrote. I left the office early for the first time in months. I stopped at a wine shop to pick up a bottle of champagne, a small contribution to whatever celebration awaited me. As I drove home, I felt genuinely happy, filled with anticipation, and hoped that this milestone would mark a new chapter for our family. I pulled into our driveway at 5:45, 15 minutes ahead of schedule. The house was completely dark. No cars in the driveway. I figured they might be setting up at a restaurant or venue nearby. I entered our home, called out, but received no response. I turned on lights, wandered from room to room. Nothing seemed amiss, but there was no sign of birthday preparations. No cards, no wrapped gifts, no cake hidden in the refrigerator. Instead, I found a hastily scribbled note on the kitchen counter. Dinner in fridge, microwave 3 minutes. No explanation, no birthday wishes, no indication of where everyone had gone or when they would return. My first reaction was confusion rather than suspicion. Had I misunderstood? Was I supposed to meet them somewhere? I checked my phone. There were no missed calls or new messages. I called Patricia. Straight to voicemail. I called Jordan. Same result. I tried Amber. Nothing. Growing concerned, I called Patricia's sister Diane. She answered on the 4th ring, her voice oddly hesitant. "Oh, hi, Lee," she said, sounding surprised. "Happy birthday." "Thanks," I replied. "Do you know where Patricia and the kids are?" "They are not home, and I thought we were celebrating tonight." A long pause followed. I'm not really sure," she finally said, her tone unconvincing. "Have you tried calling them?" "Yes, no one is answering." "Is there something going on I should know about?" "I really could not say, Lee. Sorry, I have to go." Another call coming in. "Bye." She hung up before I could respond. That conversation set off alarm bells. Diane knew something but was clearly uncomfortable telling me. I felt my anxiety rising. Had there been an accident? Was something wrong? Or had I somehow misunderstood what day my celebration was supposed to happen? I opened the refrigerator and found a plastic container with a sticky note, "Dinner." I peeled back the lid to find a single portion of leftover pasta. This was my special birthday dinner. I microwaved it as instructed and sat at our large dining table alone, picking at the cold, congealed edges of the pasta while scrolling through my phone trying to make sense of the situation. That is when I saw it. A notification from Instagram. Jordan had posted something new. I opened the app and felt my world collapse around me. The photo showed Patricia, Jordan, Amber, and Patricia's parents, all smiling widely on a pristine white beach. Behind them stood a luxury oceanfront resort. I recognized from Patricia's travel magazines. The timestamp showed it had been posted 3 hours earlier while I was still at work, excitedly anticipating my surprise. The caption read, "Surprise family vacation. Just what we all needed. He will not even notice. We are gone. LOL." I stared at the phone, unable to process what I was seeing. My hands began to shake. I scrolled down to the comments. Patricia's college friend. "Oh my God, what a gorgeous place. Enjoy your well-deserved break, Patricia's brother. About time you all got away. Have a margarita for me. My mother-in-law. So happy we could make this happen. First vacation without interruptions in years." Patricia's reply. "I know, right? No work calls to answer. No laptop always open." Amber had commented, "Dad is probably still at work anyway." Dozens more comments followed, all congratulatory, all seemingly aware of the plan except me. Not a single mention of my birthday. Not one comment asking why I was not there. It was as if I did not exist to them at all. I felt physically ill. The pasta sat forgotten as nausea washed over me. My heart raced in a way that reminded me of my health scare months earlier. But this pain was different, deeper, more profound than physical discomfort. I kept reading, unable to stop torturing myself. In the comments I discovered, they had been planning this for months. It was not a sudden decision, but a deliberate, calculated exclusion. My in-laws had helped finance it. Friends knew about it. Even some of our neighbors were in on the secret. I went upstairs to our bedroom and checked Patricia's side table drawer where she kept receipts. I found the credit card statement from last month. There it was, a $6,000 charge to the resort paid from our joint account. Money I had earned, spent on a vacation I was not invited to join. With growing dread, I began mentally reviewing conversations from recent weeks. The mysterious phone calls that ended when I entered the room. The excited whispers. The promises of something big coming. I had interpreted it all as preparation for my birthday celebration, when in reality they were planning their escape from me. More photos appeared throughout the evening. Patricia lounging by an infinity pool. Jordan and Amber jet skiing. My in-laws at a beachfront restaurant. They all looked happier than I had seen them in years. And I was not part of it. Not even mentioned. Not even an acknowledgement that it was my 50th birthday. I kept waiting for a phone call, a text, some recognition of my existence. Nothing came. My birthday ended at midnight, with me sitting alone in our dark living room, staring at photos of my family, having the time of their lives without me. I did not sleep that night. How could I? Every time I closed my eyes, I saw those photos, those smiles, that happiness that apparently required my absence. I lay in our bed staring at the ceiling, mentally reviewing 30 years of marriage, wondering where things had gone so terribly wrong. By morning, I had moved beyond shock to a strange, calm clarity. This was not a one-time slight. This was the culmination of years of disrespect and disregard. I began to see patterns I had been blind to before. The constant complaints about my working hours, even as they enjoyed the fruits of that labor. The eye rolls when I tried to participate in family discussions. The decisions made without my input presented as fait accompli. I had not been a partner to Patricia for years. I had been an ATM, a provider whose presence was tolerated only as long as the money kept flowing. And my children had learned from her example. I did not call or comment on the social media posts. I did not rage or beg for explanations. Instead, I made an appointment with a lawyer for that afternoon. I needed to understand my options. While waiting for that appointment, I contacted our financial advisor, ostensibly to discuss retirement planning. What I learned shocked me even more. Patricia had been systematically moving money from our joint account to a personal account I knew nothing about. Small amounts at first, growing larger over the past year. Not enough to notice during my busy work schedule, but significant when added up. I spent the morning documenting everything, the social media posts, the account transfers, the credit card statements. I took screenshots, made copies, organized everything methodically. Then I contacted our bank and had our joint accounts and credit cards frozen, citing potential fraud. A temporary measure, but necessary. Our home security system kept a log of entry and exit times. I checked it and saw that Patricia and the kids had left the house at 10 in the morning on my birthday, hours before I came home expecting a celebration. The footage showed them loading suitcases into the car, laughing and excited. Patricia looked directly at the camera at one point, knowing I would see this footage eventually, and smiled. That smile told me everything I needed to know. I gathered our important documents, insurance policies, property deeds, investment information, and made copies of everything. I changed passwords on our online accounts. Not to be vindictive, but to protect what remained of our family resources until we could have a proper conversation. Late that first day, I received a single text from Patricia Internet at the resort is spotty. Having an amazing time. The lack of any birthday acknowledgement was the final confirmation I needed. I did not respond. I went about my methodical preparations, a strange calm guiding my actions. This was not about revenge. This was about self-preservation. On the second day of their vacation, more carefree photos appeared. Patricia with a cocktail, Jordan parasailing, Amber getting a beachside massage, my in-laws walking hand in hand along the shore. Still no mention of me or my birthday. Jordan posted a photo of a sunset with the caption, "Dad must be working late again, has not even noticed we are gone." Amber sent me a single text, "Hope work is going well." The casual cruelty was breathtaking. They genuinely believed I was so work-obsessed, so emotionally disconnected, that I would not notice or care about their absence on my milestone birthday. What kind of monster did they think I was? What kind of monster had I allowed myself to become in their eyes? During my meeting with the lawyer, I discovered something else concerning. Among Patricia's internet search history on our shared computer were searches for divorce attorneys from 2 months ago. She had been researching her exit strategy while smiling to my face. By the third day, the tone of the messages changed. The first sign came when Patricia tried to make a significant purchase at the resort boutique. The card was declined due to the freeze I had placed. She texted me, "Something wrong with the credit card. Call the bank." I did not respond. An hour later, "Lee, the card is not working. We are in a foreign country. Fix this." Still, I maintained my silence. 2 hours later, "Are you getting my texts? This is serious. Call me." I watched the escalation with detached interest. Not responding was not about punishing her. I simply had nothing to say yet. I needed time to process, to plan, to decide what I wanted. By evening, Patricia's messages grew frantic. "The hotel is threatening to call security if we do not pay for the room and extras." "What have you done?" Jordan texted Dad. "What's going on with the credit cards? Mom is freaking out." "Amber, Dad, please answer. This is embarrassing." I received a call from the resort manager explaining the situation. I calmly informed him that there had been unauthorized use of my credit card, but that I would cover the cost of their stay, to date nothing more. They would need to find their own way home. Patricia called 17 times in the next hour. I let each call go to voicemail. Her messages grew increasingly desperate, then angry, then pleading. My in-laws tried calling next, then Jordan, then Amber. I maintained my silence. Finally, I sent a single text to Patricia, enjoying the quiet. "Talk when you return." The flood of messages that followed ranged from outrage to confusion to bargaining. 47 messages in total over the next several hours. I read each one, watching the progression from anger to fear to the dawning realization that something fundamental had changed. What began as the most painful experience of my life had transformed into something unexpected clarity. For the first time in decades, I was not reacting to my family's needs and demands. I was acting with intention. I felt a strange sense of power, not over them, but over myself. They returned home 36 hours later. I heard the Uber pull into the driveway. I had spent the intervening time preparing our home. It was spotless. I had moved my personal belongings out of the master bedroom and into the guest room. I had prepared a simple meal enough for everyone. I was calm, showered, dressed casually but neatly. They burst through the door in disarray. Patricia leading the charge, face flushed with anger, followed by sullen, exhausted-looking kids and my glowering in-laws. "What the hell, Lee?" Patricia shouted before the door had even closed behind them. "You humiliated us," the hotel nearly called the police. I remained seated at the dining table, my hands folded in front of me. I did not raise my voice. I did not move. "Welcome home," I said. "I hope you enjoyed the resort." It looked beautiful in the photos. The calm in my voice seemed to throw Patricia off balance. She had clearly prepared for a confrontation, maybe even hoping for one. "Is that all you have to say?" she demanded. "We had to borrow money from my parents to get home." "Actually, I have quite a lot to say," I replied. "Why don't you all have a seat?" My in-laws began to protest, but something in my expression silenced them. Reluctantly, everyone sat around the dining table. 3 days ago was my 50th birthday, I began. Patricia waved her hand dismissively. "We know that. We were going to celebrate when we got back." "Really?" I asked. "Because from the photos and comments, it seems like this trip was planned months ago, specifically to coincide with my birthday." Amber looked down at her hands. Jordan shifted uncomfortably. My father-in-law cleared his throat but said nothing. "You are always working anyway," Patricia said defensively. "We figured you would not care." I nodded slowly. "And that's exactly the problem, isn't it? You have decided who I am and what I care about without actually knowing me at all anymore." I placed a folder on the table and opened it. Inside were printed screenshots of their social media posts, bank statements, showing the money transfers search history, revealing Patricia's interest in divorce attorneys. "While you were gone, I had some time to reflect," I continued. "On our marriage, on our family, on the past 30 years. I pulled out specific photos from their vacation, the sunset Jordan had captioned about me working late, the family dinner, where they all looked so happy without me. You have made it abundantly clear how you see me," I said, "as an ATM, as an absent father and husband, as someone not worth including in family moments." Patricia tried to interrupt, but I held up my hand. "Let me finish," I said firmly. "I have been silent for days. You can give me these few minutes." To their credit, they remained quiet. "I am not filing for divorce today," I said. "But I am setting boundaries that should have been established years ago. I have contributed to this situation by allowing myself to be taken for granted, by prioritizing providing over being present. I accept my part in where we are now." I looked at each of them in turn. But what happened for my birthday was not a mistake or oversight. It was a deliberate choice to exclude and humiliate me. It showed a fundamental lack of respect not just for me as a father and husband, but as a human being. No one argued. The evidence was too clear. I explained my terms: family counseling, financial transparency, and a genuine effort from everyone to rebuild our relationship with mutual respect. The alternative would be a divorce, where I would be fair, but no longer overly generous. Patricia seemed shocked at my transformed confidence and clarity. My in-laws tried to intervene, suggesting I was overreacting. I firmly asked them to leave, making it clear that our marriage was not open to their management. After they left, I had private conversations with Jordan and Amber. Without attacking their mother, I explained how actions have consequences, how relationships require mutual respect, and how deeply their participation in my birthday exclusion had hurt me. To my surprise, both kids broke down in tears. They had gone along with their mother's plan, never fully considering how it would affect me. The social media posts had been Patricia's idea, but they had willingly participated. Seeing the evidence laid out so clearly forced them to confront the casual cruelty they had embraced. That was 6 months ago. We are still in family therapy. Patricia has begun to recognize her resentment toward me for my years of emotional absence. She is working to address her feelings in healthier ways than passive-aggressive exclusion and financial deception. The kids are slowly beginning to understand the complex dynamics of our family. Jordan has apologized multiple times for his hurtful social media posts. Amber has made efforts to spend one-on-one time with me, rebuilding our father-daughter bond. As for me, I have continued my journey of self-discovery. I set firm boundaries at work, reconnected with old friends, and rediscovered interests I had abandoned years ago. I found worth beyond my role as provider. I do not know if our marriage will survive in the long term. That depends on all of us doing the necessary work. But regardless of the outcome, I have reclaimed my dignity and self-respect. Last weekend, we had a small belated celebration for my 50th birthday. Nothing extravagant, a simple dinner at home with just the 4 of us. Patricia baked a cake. The kids gave thoughtful, inexpensive gifts. We talked and laughed without phones or distractions. It was modest compared to the lavish resort vacation they had taken without me. But it was genuine, and that made all the difference. Sometimes the deepest betrayals offer the greatest opportunity for growth. My 50th birthday gift turned out to be the wake-up call I needed, not just to save my marriage, but to save myself. Have you ever had to set difficult boundaries with loved ones? How did you find the courage to stand up for yourself? Share your experience in the comments below. If this story resonated with you, please like, subscribe, and share it with someone who might need to hear it. Remember, respect in relationships is not optional, it is essential. Thank you for listening to my story, and I hope it helps you recognize your own worth. Until next time, take care of yourself, because you deserve nothing less.